All right, I'm here just to talk about Kawhi. No real update per se, but I know obviously it's a question you guys ask T. Lue all the time. So just wanted to be able to give context, and if you have any questions, feel free to fire away. Obviously, Kawhi's been dealing with inflammation for almost 3 weeks in his right knee. He's doing everything. Our medical staff is doing everything to get the inflammation down so he can play. Progress has been made, but more progress the inflammation needs to continue to reduce so he can do functional basketball movements. We're hopeful it's going to get there. In terms of practice participation, I know you guys have asked Ty, he's able to do all the mental preparation part of it, the film study, the personnel review, hasn't done any contact. And we'll just take it day by day. And I know from your guys' standpoint, you guys have to ask the questions. The one thing I share with you is that inflammation's unpredictable. So we'd love to have a crystal ball, and Kawhi would love to have a crystal ball and know exactly on this day, but you just control what you can control, and hopefully the inflammation reduces in a short amount of time, and he's back on the court. That's the goal.
Now, there's a report today that he received an injection to that knee to reduce the inflammation.
Yeah, we don't comment on any specific treatments, obviously. What I'd share with you, Ohm, is he's doing everything he can, and we're doing everything we can medically. But specific treatments, regardless of the player, we would never comment on.
Can this be likened to the absence he had, I think, last year? I think he played a couple games, then had inflammation in that knee, was out for about 3 or 4 weeks. Would it be likened kind of to that?
Different. Yeah, different. Everything structurally is in a really good place. So this is just, like I said, it's just some very stubborn inflammation.
What was the timeline of when this kind of started? I mean, when did you guys notice it was something you tried to play on at all?
Just towards right at the end of the East Coast trip.
Okay.
Lawrence, from what you've heard from the medical staff and coaches, would he be able to play on Sunday?
He'll be questionable for Sunday. Like I said, and I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. It's just very unpredictable. So like if things continue to get better and better, there's a chance. So we'll be hopeful, but just to get ahead of it, he'll be questionable for game 1.
You guys have to. I mean, it'd be hard to just throw him in if he hasn't done a lot of contact out here yet, right?
Yeah, it's Thursday though. Right, so in terms of based on where we're heading, is it possible he could play? Sure, it's possible. It's Thursday, and like I said, with each day, we'll know more and more.
And so obviously it's the playoffs, so the stakes are high. But you guys are always very careful with your athletes and guys like Kawhi. So, is there any differentiate? If this is a Tuesday in October versus now?
Look, we'll never put an athlete on the court if they're at risk for injury, and as you guys know, especially you guys who are around Kawhi every day, this guy lives for these moments. He played 68 games this year. He's done a ton of heavy lifting, and he prepares himself to be his best when his best is needed. So he's going to do like he has everything in his power to get on the court. Obviously, if he's not healthy to play at a certain moment, then he won't be out there. And that's kind of been since Kawhi's tenure, and that's kind of what we've shared through the course of this, is that when Kawhi's healthy, he plays. And some things you can't control, regardless of how meticulous he is with his body and everything that goes into playing. You can only control what you can control, and you kind of got to surrender to the things you can't.
Since you left the East Coast trip, has there been any level of setback, or has everything been smooth ever since he stopped playing after the Charlotte game?
Yeah, I think the thing with it is, like I said, is you're hopeful that the inflammation. I think we've seen some progress here recently, and we're hoping that it continues to go in that direction.
Well, how do you measure that progress? Is it progress in terms of swelling going down, or is it progress in terms of what he's able to do specifically?
Well, they're all kind of tied together, right? Because if inflammation doesn't go down functionally, you can't make certain movements on the court that you need to make. So it'll be tied together.
Acknowledging the unpredictability of is there a chance that this could pop up again after 2 games or something if he's able to return?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't want to forecast, what could or couldn't happen, because no one knows.
If he is able to play, would it be a minutes restriction on Sunday?
I don't even know that answer at this point.
What does the ramp-up process look like for him as far as being comfortable with him in a regular workload?
Yeah, I think, with it is you start with on-court work and then you continue to build up on it and you get to a point where both from, first from Kawhi's standpoint and then from a medical standpoint, we're comfortable where he can play in a high-level playoff game that we all know, the intensity level that's required in those games.
Well, I think there's a level of concern that it could lead to more than just information, and that it could be more serious to what even he knows you guys know.
No, I think, look, we have, like I said, obviously for medical information, very confidential, but we would never put Kawhi or anyone on the court, like if there's grave risk or there's risk for future injury that's easily predictable. We're hopeful that this inflammation, that we'll get it reduced and he'll be back on the court as quickly as possible. But like I said, you can't predict something that's unpredictable.
Yeah.
Because
The information from
but because it's been the same league, the idea that anything is functioning improperly, is that been thought of, considered?
Oh yeah, look, yeah. I mean, we actually have guys with MDs, and like they like study this every day, and no. I mean, they have all the imaging, the scans, and everything. So it's a very, very intelligent group. So like I said, we're dealing with inflammation, and that's what we're dealing with.
is the information from the MCO or the ACO or both?
No structure. Everything is solid and intact. So it's inflammation.
Because this is a playoffs, I think there's a perception out there that this is like a level of gamesmanship from you guys, but because of what you're telling us, it's very clear that that's not the case. You guys just don't know what's going on, or don't know if he's going to be available.
Yeah, like I said, I think there is no gamesmanship here. And we're very sensitive to the fact that that questions are going to be asked and want to be as transparent as possible. And also, it's okay to say what the truth is. It's unpredictable. We're hoping it's trending in the right direction. It's a very accurate statement. When it gets to a point where he's able to play, then that's when he'll be back on the court. Just like I said, we'd all and look, there's no one who's more frustrated than Kawhi, who desperately wants to be out there to play. And you just control what you can control.
Lawrence, what are the steps in him getting the inflammation down to the level that you guys would be comfortable with him playing? Like what's the step-by-step that he has to go through to get it down? Yeah,
I mean, I think you get through the steps of where the swelling's at, call an acceptable level. And then you start to ramp up. You do some exercises in the performance room. You start doing court work, and then where you get to a point where you're able to go full speed, contact type work.
The swelling right now, if you go back to last season, the beginning of last season, is it on par to where it was at the beginning of last season?
And again, I learn all this stuff too. I'm with you, and the only benefit I have is I sit in on all these medical meetings, so I don't want to misrepresent something that's it, but they're unrelated in terms of what we're dealing with today is different than what we dealt with last year. And so we're dealing with inflammation and doing everything in our power to try to get that inflammation reduced. And to BT's question is, structurally everything's very sound, and we're dealing with the inflammation so he can make functional basketball movements.
In the event that he's not available, where's your confidence with this team?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to deal with what it is. I mean, we have a very confident group. We have a very capable group. But we're hopeful Kawhi's going to play. But at the same time, if by any chance he can't play game one, we feel very, very good about our group. That's why we built a team of really talented guys who have a ton of experience, future Hall of Famers who've been in these situations before. And guess what? It's as frustrating as it is, for Kawhi, for our team, just in terms of to deal with this. It's reality around the NBA. You go around and it's a very, very, this is part of the thing, and this is what you sign up for, and you just deal with it. So hopefully Kawhi is available for every game, but if he's not, we'll be ready.
You mentioned frustration. Mentally, how is he dealing with this?
Oh, he's a very, very strong-minded guy. Yeah, very, very strong-minded guy. So he just channels his energy, all his energy into what he can control, and put 24/7 into whatever he can do to help reduce the inflammation. But he's a very strong-minded guy who can stay in the moment, and he doesn't catastrophize things. He doesn't glorify things. You just take it for what it is, and just remain optimistic, like we all remain optimistic that this will resolve shortly.
So you may not know the answers, but later in this year, there's a lot of flights involved there at that point. Like, does anything like that affect him, his rehab, his ability to play?
Yeah, good question. I don't think so. But I think with these aren't typically like when you have inflammation from a flight, it's very very minimal. This isn't like due to that. So I think once Kawhi's good to go, if there's certain things while we are flying, different modalities they need to use, I'm sure the medical staff will be on top of that.
Does he need a full contact practice before being prepared for game one?
Again, more of a medical question than a question for me to say.
Is he able to do any conditioning type things?
Yeah, I mean, there are different things. I mean, right now, it's just more, just with the modalities, but in due time. And, there's a lot of different things, that he can do that he is, but we're just avoiding any contact work at this point and to reduce any of the pounding.
Thanks, Al. If he can't play, can you suit up?
I think me and you rather drink a bottle of wine than me suiting up. All right, I appreciate you guys. All right.